From the central coast of New South Wales, Australia, it's the #1 podcast for the X-Men animated series. This is Generation X-Men with Bender and Brooksy.
Yes, it is. Welcome back. This is Generation X-Men. I'm Bender, and with me as always is Brooksy.
Hey.
Like the name suggests, we are Generation X-Men, and you are too. If you're new to this, what we'll be doing is going through all 5 seasons of X-Men the animated series, one episode at a time, giving you our thoughts, X-Quiz, Tally Time, most importantly, having a laugh as well. Now, Cold Comfort and the debut of Iceman Brooksy. This is like a breath of fresh air after a nasty bout of the Mojo-verse. Would you not agree?
This is a good one.
I feel as though that sounds like a disease or a bad virus. Oh, geez, I just had a bad case of the Mojo-verse.
Better take some Pepto-Bismol.
Wish there was a vaccination for the Mojo-verse, unless we're directing it, right?
That's correct.
I'm certain that we would have come up with a better episode than that. No offense, Larry. Let's blame it on the other director. This was a welcome return to form, and hopefully it's smooth sailing from here, and we're just getting some fun episodes, but you never know. It's always about rolling the dice, flipping the coin. Marvel movie news returns. Spider-Man Far From Home first reactions are in. Black Widow is dead. And how's this for a title, Brooksy, or a tease? Did Kevin Feige bury Dark Phoenix for Captain Marvel? Tune in later to find out our recent discovery. I was shocked when I read this, if it's true.
Yeah, you've been
but it sounds very true.
The conspiracy theories are running thick and fast.
Oh boy, I swear X-Men and Fox fans are as paranoid as DC Justice League fans. There's a Kinberg cut, the studio's trying to bury us. Marvel's blah, blah, blah. It's like they're losing their minds, bro.
Settle down, mate.
Calm down, everybody. It's just a movie. But I think Kevin Feige did bury Dark Phoenix. It all makes sense. That's right, Dark Phoenix follow-up. If you haven't listened to our bonus ep of us reviewing Dark Phoenix, be sure to give that a listen and tune in back to this episode, because we got follow-up and a wager it could be more interesting than the film itself. Go check the archives. I've always wanted to say that. I keep forgetting. Go check the archives, because we got some bonus reviews on Dark Phoenix and Avengers Endgame. Not really reviews, just more our thoughts and what we thought of it. And all that sort of good stuff. Kind of like Breakdown, but we don't go through it beat by beat. Generation Mailbag returns, plus more fan questions. Love fan questions, Brooksy. This is fast becoming my favourite segment of the show. So everybody, please, if you've got questions for Brooksy and myself, send them in. We haven't got a hashtag because we don't use Twitter. Just contact us on Facebook. I am, you know the deal, body slide into our DMs. Mutant merch is in the house today, and what Marvel Legends did I get in the mail today, Brooks? You'll find out after this quick commercial break.
More in the bag.
We got them coming. More in those Ziploc bags, that is right. I do not buy packaged fresh Marvel Legends. I do not want to pay $50 a figure, plus postage and handling. Geez, the toy industry in Australia needs to pick up its game. It is looking depressing, even with the Big W toy sales. There was jack shit on the shelves. Now, as much as I don't want to double dip into the long shot, but I watched it again when I was doing the edit for the podcast and noticed some differences in the episode, Brooks.
All right.
Loyal listeners will remember I mentioned last week that the editing during the action sequences with the T-1000 dogs being all choppy and weird, and that's because the DVD version has been censored.
Oh, again.
It's been censored again, just like when Wolverine cuts the Danger Room Cyclops Sentinel's head off.
Yeah.
It's been censored because during the action sequence, the T-1000 dogs, which I should have called the K-9000s.
That would have been a good one.
That came to me when I was doing the podcast. When I was doing the edit, I should have said, we should just do the whole podcast again, just so I could call them the K-9000s.
Throwing that joke.
But that's a genius name for these T-1000 dogs. I was so chuffed with myself. Anyway, during the fight, Longshot throws his bowlers, whatever they're called, and it wraps around the dog's mouth. Now, in your edit, you just see it starting to wrap, and then it cuts away to being flung across the alleyway and hitting the wall. In the uncensored version, you see the bowlers completely wrap around the dog's mouth. Now, I believe that this was cut out of DVD release because I think in censorship this is called a replicatable act. fact
Okay.
where kids at home who may have pet dogs would get, I don't know where they get bolos from, a bit of rope or something, and just start wrapping it around their dog's mouth.
Yep.
Now, that's totally understandable, but what kids are watching a 90s X-Men cartoon these days? It's just us. You're not going to go out, play with your two dogs, and throw a bit of rope with some ball wrapped around it and hopefully muzzle them like that. I mean, censorship really doesn't make sense in these DVDs, especially these ones. Can't you just put like a warning on it? PG, parental guidance or whatever? Not just cut out all the good stuff, especially when Wolverine cuts that Sentinel's head off. But yeah, that's about as much as I want to double dip into the long shot. Just a little footnote for our loyal listeners wanting some follow-up on that weird editing. Now, before we break down Cold Comfort, it's time for X Quiz.
Pop quiz, Hotshot.
Pop quiz!
Pop quiz, asshole.
Time for a surprise quiz?
Won't be a pop quiz on Wednesday. There's a pop quiz. Pop quiz.
Now, Brooksy, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions for X Quiz. They may be super obvious, but I'm going with them anyway.
There was a lot of obvious questions. I have 8.
Oh, jeez, I thought I smashed you. But I was really paying... I didn't get a chance to watch this today, but I wanted to pay close attention during the watch through tonight because I feel as I let you down last week with my lack of X Quiz.
Right.
I feel as I have a lot of energy today.
Yeah?
Must have been those 2 Cokes. Need to even it out some water. Mate. All right, Brooksy, you got 8. Hit me up.
What was the humidity in the security office?
Damn it, you have mine. Well, he turned it up to 85% temperature. Is that correct? What you have?
What's the humidity, though?
Oh,
That's
jeez.
temperature.
There goes my question. The humidity, I don't know what it was. Was it 45%? Did they measure in percent?
It's in percent.
Yeah, 45, locked in.
It's 80.
Oh, man. Was that, they say that, or was that displayed on screen?
It said humidity, and then it switches to temperature.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. And that's when they're whinging about, oh, it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
All right. In the opening sequence, we see a Federal Storage Depot. What is the name of the Federal Storage Depot?
It's Kirby.
Don't go through your friggin' notes. Don't you go through your friggin' notes.
I didn't write it down.
Oh, I could have a winner.
Because it's in my...
It is in the breakdown. It comes up later in the episode.
Yeah.
And bloody two, hit me with that second name. It's Kirby.
Glenn.
That's exactly what it is. Kirby Glenn.
Yeah, I was just...
Stalling for time.
That's right. I was stalling till it came into my head. I'm like, because, yeah, the Kirby part means something. The other part doesn't. And I'm
I
like, hang on,
believe
what's
Kirby
that?
stands for Jack Kirby,
Yes.
who was co-creator with Stan Lee. I think he did most of the early drawings of the X-Men comic books, which is pretty neat because his drawings of the First Class were Beast, Jean, Iceman, Cyclops, and I think Archangel.
Yeah.
But I think they left Archangel out of this episode because...
But I'm pretty sure he's in another one where
Ooh.
they cut back like that. I'm sure he's in one.
Ooh. But yeah, I thought that was a really neat little trivia that they put in here, but I don't know who Glenn is.
Well, there is another part to that.
Why don't they just call it Kirby Jack?
It's the Kirby Glen Storage Depot, and then there's a number after it. Did you get the number?
No, I did not.
Because that is his birth year.
Oh. Would it be 1941 or something? Or
A bit earlier than that.
Oh, really? 38?
No.
Earlier than 38? Jeez,
Early.
boy's old. Oh, wait, he's been really young.
Yeah.
Young, really old, older than my old man. 30 on the dot. 30.
1917.
19. Whoa! Whoa, bruh. That's crazy. No wonder he's not around. Anyway, but he's a great, talented artist. Let's move on to my next trivia question. Give a bit of a pause on the answer because I want Corey Neville to answer this one as well. I know he likes to play at home and try and answer before you answer, so we'll give it a bit of thinking time.
Okay.
The alarm goes off at the X Mansion and everybody's woken up suddenly. Wolverine takes out his claws and puts them straight through his alarm clock on the bedside table. What time is it on the clock when Wolverine destroys his alarm clock?
Well, I know this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you know it,
I'm
Corey?
just giving you a bit of time. it was a strange time, and I didn't understand. When we get to it, I'll talk about it a bit more. But like, I'm like, is this his alarm going off, or is this some other alarm that's in the whole building going off? And he just accidentally smashes.
He thinks it's his alarm
But
clock.
then the professor comes into his head to tell him to go. Like, why didn't he just do that when they were all asleep?
Could affect his dreams.
Anyway.
Okay, let's lock in that answer.
I think it's 12:07.
Did you get that, Corey? Because it is 12:07. 12:07, he smashes the alarm. Seems like it's an early night for Wolverine. I mean, I'm not sleepy at 12:07, but then again, I'm not battling humans and all sort of other mutants all day.
All right, so we did the humidity. So what was the temperature?
85% temperature?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Part 2 of the question.
Well, when it goes...
Iceman drops the temperature.
Oh, gee, done
What
it.
does he drop it to?
I think it's also ends in a 5. Is it 15%?
Not
Not that low. 25.
30.
Something's wrong with
So
the 5.
for extra bonus points, can you convert those from Fahrenheit to Celsius?
No, of course I can't. What does it mean? Like, I thought it just meant a random percentage. I did not know it meant...
No, so the percentage is just the humidity.
Oh, okay.
So it's 0 to 100. But yeah, the 85, I'm pretty sure, is degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, geez, I have no idea then. Minus 4?
So 85 is 29, and then 30 is minus 1.
Oh, okay. Shit, eh?
So that makes more sense, doesn't it?
Why wouldn't they just do that?
It's 80% humidity and it's 29 degrees. So it's warm.
Do the Channel 10 weather guy. Doesn't he mention humidity and all that?
Tim Bailey.
Yeah, do his bit.
The business of the brolly.
Yeah.
Predicted precipitation. Drips and drops across rooftops and crops. Into your backyard if you don't mind.
I swear he talked about more like humidity and all that jargon. But
He
anyway,
probably does. I don't watch it enough. It keeps changing it.
surely it should be off TV by now.
There's like the Daily Bailey or something. You can send in your photo every day. He puts a photo with his weather.
Any
He goes,
bum
"Oh,
crack
this
in the
one."
photo.
I'd like to see more bum crack.
Classic
Comment.
Australian comedy. Anyway, we've got a couple more X-Quiz. Well, 2 more, I think. During a flashback, Bobby quits the X-Men and he takes up a regular job. What is his regular job, Brooksy?
Was it an accountant?
That's right. There was extra to that accountant, but I only wrote accountant. I can't remember what the hell the bits in front of accountant was.
Yeah, that's all it said. I think it just said like Bobby Drake something accountant.
I thought it had something else like state something accountant, chartered accountant. I don't know.
Chartered accountant.
Well, you look like one.
So in the war room, the Professor and Jubilee are fixing a fault.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what that fault is?
Oh, a fault in the war
It's
room.
a faulty something unit.
A faulty projection unit.
2 letters and 2 numbers.
Oh, easy. R2D2 unit. Give me a hard one.
No,
Brooksy.
he's running fine.
C-3PO is always rooted.
It's a faulty AE35 unit.
AE35. There are all those random numbers and letters. Have we got a tally on that? Does that mean anything? Is it the coordinates of the expansion? Oh, man. It would have been a winner if it was an R2D2 unit. Okay, this is my final question, I believe. More of a tally, but I'll send it your way. Anyway, during the episode, there are a number of temperature and ice-related puns made towards Bobby or by Bobby himself. How many are there?
There was a few,
There sure was.
so I'll go with 6.
There was not 6. It was half. It was 3.
3?
Only 3 ice puns. 1 more if you count when Wolverine says, I'm going to carve you up and make cocktail ice for 100. I didn't really count that one as... Oh, you could count that one, but I was thinking more of the ones that Bobby made because it reminded me of Mr. Freeze.
I got a couple more here. What number X-Men was Iceman?
I believe he was number 2.
Correct. The second.
I am number 2. Nice to meet you, number 2. His name, number 2. 10 points if you get that reference.
That's a bit easier than
Little bit
Neville
easy-
fucking Bartos.
Very much easier. Get the fucking cash, boys. Anyway,
Which city was Polaris recruited by Forge in?
yeah, Corey, what city was Polaris? I don't know. Hit me with that question again. I wasn't paying attention.
So Polaris gets recruited by Forge when she leaves Iceman.
Lorna,
What city were they in?
Was it Washington?
It was Washington State,
Oh.
but it was
Just hit me
a
with it.
city in Washington State.
I don't know any cities in Washington State. Sorry for anyone who lives in Washington State.
You're offending so many people.
You can name some cities in New South Wales if you like and make me feel better. But no, I do not know.
It was
Dallas.
It was a hilarious name.
Walla Walla. Keokuk. Kungama. Seattle.
Yeah.
Stop it, you're killing me. Seattle. 10 points if you get that reference. Thanks for the tip on that one. That was a good one, Brooks.
There you go.
I'd want you to be the host of Millionaire if I was. If there was a question.
What's that game where it's behind you, like Pyramid or something, where it is where they got the thing written and you're not allowed to say the name, but you got to
Isn't
say
that
it to
that
them.
celebrity show that Ed
Yeah,
Cavalier was
that
on?
terrible show.
Yeah, okay, but the proper one is Pyramid.
Okay, so my last
Seattle.
question is a really big one that I could have cut up into like 80,000 questions.
Great.
So when Lorna's got the paper,
Mm-hmm.
she's going on about the paper in the flashback.
Ah, yes, I saw that.
Did you see any of the paper? What can you tell me about this paper?
I think was Professor X on the paper, and so was Gyrick
Correct.
from the Sentinels. The titles, I can't remember any of the titles. I'm sure Mutant was in the title.
Yes. Mutant Crisis.
Mutant Crisis, all right.
What was the paper?
Is it the Daily Bugle?
It was the Bugle.
Really? Daily
was.
Bugle? Oh, Spider-Man reference.
And it's an editorial written by...
J. John Jameson? You're
Correct.
kidding.
Yes.
Oh, Larry, so much copyright infringement there, player.
There's also
That's great.
There's also a date there too.
Oh, geez, I have no idea. 1994.
There's no last. It's just the month, the day, and the day of the week.
Wow.
So what's the big
Month.
paper day?
Big paper day? I have no idea.
Big paper.
The big paper. The Daily Telegraph. The Sydney Morning Herald Sunday edition. I don't know. Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday Morning Herald.
And then give me a month and a day.
November Tuesday.
It's already Sunday.
Oh.
So
Oh, yeah. A month and a day. I don't know. November 3rd.
it was September 8.
All right. Is that significant to anything? I'm sure it's the debut of... Probably the debut of Iceman, is it? That'd be awesome trivia.
It could have been. That would have been cool. I didn't find that out in any of my research.
Follow up for next week. Was his debut September 8? Ah, very good. There's a good X quiz this week.
There was so much X quiz. It was great.
I believe I really tried to put the effort in.
Previously on X-Men.
There was none.
That's right. But yeah, there was none. Is there anything in the book about that?
No, nothing in the book about that.
Of course there isn't. What did the book say about this episode? Should we talk about that now?
It pretty much just broke down what happened in the episode. There didn't really give too much. Just talking about the relationships and all that sort of stuff that happened during the episode.
They couldn't have called Larry once.
Of course, the book we're talking about is previously on X-Men, the making of the animated series by Eric Lewald.
I don't think there's anything about our boy Larry Houston in that book at all, other
There
than he
is.
had a hard time with certain episodes.
Larry,
What sort of hard time, guys?
Larry does have a whole chapter you can read. if you
Oh,
want.
excellent. Well, we'll break that down once we get up to some serious Larry stuff. If we ever do that interview with him.
Yeah.
I don't know when we'd do it.
I don't know. We're flat out just making the episode.
Send us $1 million, then we can make this our full time, or at least 30 grand, and then I'll just be over at Brooks' house always.
Yeah,
They do podcast, Brooks? You haven't done the breakdown yet. Hurry up, bro.
that is like you out. Then I just got to go to work.
Break it down, mofos.
Break it down. Break it down.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
Break down. Go ahead, give it to me. Breakdown. Where is she?
So today we are doing episode number 37, Season 3, Episode 15, Cold Comfort. Mm-hmm. The original air date for this one is February 4, 1995. It was written by Len Uhley, Uhley,
Sounds about right to me.
and directed by Larry Houston.
On you, Larry.
So I was listening to Four Finger Discount the other day, and now what they do, February 4, 1995, he always goes, "Oh, what were you doing then, Mitch?" But now he's like, "No, that's boring. So I'm just going to tell you what the number one song in the thing was for that time." I'm like, "Oh yeah." I didn't want to copy them and do that again, but I'm like, "Oh yeah, that would be interesting."
That would be interesting. What was the date again?
February 4, 1995.
I couldn't tell you what I was doing in 1995. Probably watching this episode of X-Men.
Yeah, I always go...
it was like delayed over
That's
here.
right, we didn't get it for ages.
95. What year were we in 95?
That's what I always go to. So what year were we in? So 99 when you're 6. So then you just go back from there.
So what, year 3?
Mm.
Year 3, Mrs. Hall was my teacher. I remember there was a mirror right next to my table, and apparently I looked at myself in the mirror always, kind of like a bird.
Kind of like a bird.
And when she hung up paintings we all did once, it went straight across my face where I was sitting at the table, so she had to move them. Oh, and I was still using my finger to put spaces when I wrote. And she brought that up at PTA one time, and then I stopped doing it. I didn't know you're supposed to stop.
Did you have your pen license yet?
I don't believe so. That's my 95. What's your 95, Brooksy? Was Alanis Morissette in the charts? Or is it Spice Girls taking over?
It was the Cranberries, Zombie.
Ugh, yuck. I hate that song. Well, this is good. We should start doing something on the date of 95. Something whenever we mention the air date.
Top hits of 1995, Gangster's Paradise.
Oh, boy.
Staying Alive, the Entrance edition. Hey, yo, party people on the dance floor.
Oh, yes. That is for me.
Oh.
Blue Light Discos.
And, of course, 1995, Batman.
Oh, Batman Forever's out. I was probably watching it in the cinema. Or...
Baby.
Oh, that's what I was doing. I was watching Rage in the Sunday morning just so I could get that clip of Kiss from a Rose so I could see more footage of Batman Forever.
High entrance.
Oh, great stuff. That's good. Let's start doing that again.
Okay.
Make it too much about us.
We'll just copy more of Four Finger Discount.
Yeah, all right, they're leading the way for us to follow. Standing on the shoulders of giants.
All right, so let's break it down then, eh?
Go ahead, give it to me.
So we open with the two security guards arguing about the weather in the security office at the old Kirby Glen storage depot.
Federal Storage Depot.
One of the security guards... then one of these security cameras gets iced. Mm-hmm. So we get this like first person view of these like silvery hands. They're causing this fog and you can see all the beams and that sort of stuff. They're going to this first person a lot now, especially in this episode.
Well, that's a trademark of Larry's that we'd seen earlier, and it's good to see that coming back.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Then all of a sudden the temperature in this room just drops straight out, and then we get our first look at Iceman. And I really like this entrance. He freezes the door, punches his way through.
Hard entrance.
That's epic.
Well, you hear the Terminator 2 T-1000 getting shot to bits in this sound effect again after he's been hit with the liquid nitrogen.
So he freezes the two guards, but he's not able to stop one of them setting off the alarm. And then we get a pixel wipe to the mansion.
Ooh, pixel.
That's what you call it? Where it's all squares?
Call that pixel wipe, pixel transition.
Pixel transition to the mansion where the professor is making Jubilee help him fix something.
Fix the R2-D2 unit.
Yes, the faulty AE-35 unit in the war room. Mm-hmm. Jubilee's like, oh yeah, I'll just jump in one of the old mini jets and duck down and grab a new one. And then he's like, no, I've seen you drive this in a simulator and you're an idiot.
Classic stuff. Bit of banter.
She is not authorised yet to use it.
She still hasn't got a jet license since she flew Colossus to Russia. Come on, Jubilee.
Yeah, he was bloody vomiting bolts the whole way there. Then all of a sudden, you get this voice comes over. Attention.
I am registering violent mutant activity. Scanning federal satellite transmissions to corroborate.
What type of installation is that?
Property is identified as a federal storage depot. Restricted access.
So then the voice determines that the mutant powers the formation and manipulation of ice. And then
Jubilee goes, oh, I thought Storm was out of town.
that's right, she's in Africa.
She wouldn't think like, oh, Storm's breaking into some place. She's immediately blaming Storm on this.
Storm's in Wakanda, right? Wakanda forever.
We couldn't think of that place last week.
No, we couldn't. The mutant has been identified as Bobby. And then the professor's like, oh, Bobby. Oh, no. It's
Also,
Iceman.
is it also known as Iceman?
Yes, I think he says like Robert Drake, also known as Iceman.
Mr. Freeze. Bobby. A criminal has broken into the National Museum of History. He's calling himself Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze.
Stay cool, boy.
I'm afraid my condition has left me cold. You'll please have mercy.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, I appreciate what that movie is now. Stupid.
So
That's
anyway,
all I was thinking of through this episode. So I wonder if they're going to match Arnie's references to temperature-related ice puns in this episode. Sadly, they did not. Only 3 or 4 if you include Wolverine's cocktail ice.
much prefer to watch this episode than Batman and Robin.
Wow, you're
again.
still hurting by that.
I am. It's terrible. No more Batman.
Shall we carry on?
So do you want to go through Iceman now?
Yeah, let's break it down, all these bio
He's got
powers.
his thermokinesis, cryokinesis, hydrokinesis, organic ice form, molecular moisture inversion, molecular moisture conversion,
Ooh.
ice clone regeneration, cryokinetic perception.
Wow.
There you go.
I would have thought it was just he makes ice, but he can do it all, man.
Yeah. He's got all the fancy names for do a lot with ice. So pretty much you can make all the water into ice.
He can cool your Pepsi Cola by breathing on it.
That's his best trick. I think that was
Got
a
any
friggin'
beer?
That was a Dr. Pepper, wasn't it?
Something whack like that. That weird.
No,
stuff.
thank you.
Got any beer? This is a school. Anything besides chocolate milk? Some soda in the cupboard. Why is there soda in the cupboard?
That's
Put it in the
it, you
fridge,
idiot.
mate.
Put it in the fridge. So we come back from the break, and Wolverine's woken up by this alarm clock sounding thing.
Yeah, he thinks it's the alarm clock.
Pops claws and smashes through this clock. Okay, so it's 12:07, right? So is this in the morning or in the night? Answer me that.
Well, it's technically in the morning. Is that when the 12
In the middle of the night or in the middle of the day?
middle of the night?
So why is Jubilee and the Professor up in the middle of the night changing senses?
Oh, that's a good point.
Why has he got her out of bed? Hey, Jubilee, could go change this following sentence. Come on.
Everyone's asleep and I can't get out of the chair. You're new. It's like when they're hazing the trainees or the apprentices. You know what I mean?
That's my big question.
Yeah.
Because I can see Wolverine sleeping into midday. Is that a big night? I need my full sleep, mate.
Well, probably Jubilee's the one who doesn't complain too much when Professor asks them for help. Wolverine, would you be able to change an R2-D2 unit for me? No. Okay.
But if you want anyone handling electronics, do you really want Jubilee doing?
See what she does to VCRs.
That's right.
That's an excellent point. Maybe it's a training exercise for her to control her powers around electronics.
here
Now,
we
if you
go.
short this out, you're going to bring out the whole mansion.
And no more X-Jets for you.
Okay.
Okay, so we get the Professor sort of like hologramming on the screen, like he's telepathically connecting to the X-Men.
Ah, yes.
Tell them they need to assemble in the Blackbird.
X-Men assemble.
So yeah, X-Men assemble means Beast, Cyclops, Wolverine, and the Professor going on there. Jubilee comes up. Nah, mate, gotta stay behind.
Yeah.
You need to prepare the infirmary.
Oh, just in case Wolverine needs some bandages.
That's right. In case Jane faints somewhere again.
Oh, we should play a little game. Who would you be? Who would be on your little X-Men team that you'd want to go on mission with?
Gambit, Rogue,
Gambit, Rogue, yeah.
probably Wolverine.
He gets everything done.
Maybe Beast. I don't know. He might be annoying me that day. I don't want to hear any more about it. And definitely not Cyclops.
Okay.
Maybe the Professor can drive the plane.
Yeah.
Because then we can use his telepathic ability just if we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not Jubilee. She is garbage. Yeah.
And there's only
and
no
then
Storm.
Jean's passed out. Storm if we need her. Yeah, it
Okay.
depends. Depends if it's nice and sunny
So
or
you're
not.
just leaving Jubilee and Cyclops
Yeah, to guard the base.
and maybe Beast at home.
Yeah, guard the base.
So I'd always have Beast with me. He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
I'd have Beast, Gambit, Rogue, Wolverine. I think that's all. That's all we'd really need. I'd just be there for the banter, mate. Just there for the banter.
That's why you need bloody Gambit. there.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Bring a bit of levity.
So yeah, we get the jet going out of the overhead hangar this time. No more cliffhanger.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, that's a
Different exit
Yeah,
through the basketball courts.
And we get Cyclops, man. Cyclops.
Oh, he's salty this episode. He's got attitude. His whinging is through the roof.
It's just like before. The guy is trouble.
He's an X-Man.
Was.
Feels though he would have been in direct competition with Bobby Drake in the first class.
So who's number one? If Iceman's number two, is Cyclops number one or is Professor X number one?
No, I thought they always said that Jean was the first student.
Marvel Girl's number one.
Yeah, I believe that. Marvel Girl is number one.
See, that's why he's salty.
Yeah, that's right.
Shut up, number three.
Hi, I'm number 3.
We're not against him, Wolverine.
So then we're with him?
Of course not. He's destroying federal property.
Boy, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Beast then fills in Wolverine about how Bobby was one of the original X-Men until he left. Wolverine's like, ha, left or quit or canned.
I feel like can would have been just shit canned. That's what he really wants to say. Quit or shit canned.
And then again, Cyclops really bitching about Iceman here.
You always made excuses for him. You'd never let the rest of us get away with half the things he did. I'm not surprised Drake's gone bad. He's a renegade.
Yeah, really, really salty. I think really jealous of this guy back in the day.
And Beast's like, oh man, he's free-spirited, but he's definitely not a renegade.
It was a pretty beast-heavy episode, this one. He
Yeah.
gets to say and do a fair bit, which I
does.
thought was interesting. More beast, please.
Cyclops is like, oh, you're coddling him again. Shut up, Cyclops. And then, yeah, this is where Beast calls him intransient.
I don't know what intransient is.
You've just got intransient written?
Transient question mark.
Look that up later. The X-Jet then lands. The plan is to grab Iceman and get out of here and not take on the soldiers.
That's right.
We cut then to Iceman, who is battling these soldiers. He's making a lot of big ice walls and then running away.
Seems to be what you do.
Once clear around the corner, Iceman then morphs back into his human form, and then Beast catches up with him. And he's like, Beast, what's up besides you?
Ah, clever stuff there.
And then he quickly realizes that Xavier has sent him. He's like, Xavier sent you? And then Beast's like, Professor Xavier was
Ooh.
concerned for your safety.
No, he's very disrespectful with leaving the title out.
That's right. He didn't spend 30 friggin' years
Evil medical school to be called doctor.
called Mr. Thank you very much. But Iceman does not want the help of Beast or Xavier and ice blast Beast into a bunch of boxes before ice sliding away. There's a lot of boxes in this episode too.
That was pretty funny.
Damn boxes.
Damn boxes.
He then gets blindsided off this ice slide by Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's a pretty epic
I
shot.
got here suddenly Wolverine.
He then pops claws and says, okay, pal, you come easy or I get to make cocktail ice for 100.
That was a good one-liner. Good writing by the writer of this episode.
He then freezes Wolverine up to his neck and he's like, sorry, pal, you're skating on thin ice. Iceman. I'm Iceman. Cyclops from off screen's like, so are you, Drake? And then he pops around the corner and just nails him with an eye beam.
Really gives it to him.
So yeah, it knocks him back in the wall and then back into human form.
And then Wolverine says, a touch of overkill, Squinty. Wolverine's just got the
That is a
zingers
classic.
today, man.
That's a great one. I love that one. Squinty. It's an old Squinty now. He goes over to an unconscious Iceman. He's like, you have no right to wear that uniform. He's passed out, you idiot. Shut up.
Chief, he's unconscious. I can still hear things. That's another line. It's like, did you just tough talk a dead guy? Can't remember what that's out of.
The army then descend upon the X-Men, and they're sort of trapped here. So Cyclops jumps on the old radio, gets in touch with Professor. And so the Professor, instead of just like freezing them, like everyone or the army, like just like saying, oh no, they're hidden or whatever, he decides to make like Godzilla enemies in front of the army.
He summons a mind-projected kaiju to fight all the army and scare the piss out of them.
But would this work? Like the army, they want to kill things, and this big thing shows up, like, oh no, something big. Get out here. Like,
maybe they had seen Godzilla and realised that army's useless against Godzilla. But I thought this was cool. He's rolling his sleeves up a little bit, getting amongst it. I mean, and summoning a kaiju is way more visually impressive in a cartoon than it is making them freeze. In movies, it's more cool if you just make them freeze and not move. That's why I suppose they did it in like X2 and Days of Future Past.
Yeah, was it First Class where they opened the back door and then he's just got them all hidden?
Oh, yeah.
They open it up, it's just empty.
Yeah.
Like, oh. And then they cut back and they're all in there going, oh shit.
Was that, or was it X-Men Apocalypse and Jean did that?
When did Jean do that?
Remember when they were flying to the... some of the mutants got captured and then they jumped into the back of the helicopter because that Stryker had captured them and they went to like the place where they're keeping Wolverine.
Okay, yeah, they went to the dam.
Yeah, they went to the dam. I thought Jean did the shadow, I'm invisible to everybody trick.
Yeah, I think she might have done that with her. It was her and Cyclops?
Yeah, her, Cyclops... and someone else.
Nightcrawler?
I think it was Nightcrawler, that's right.
Yeah.
Could have been that. We'll have
it's
to watch
definitely
it
in First Class.
It's definitely in the movies, yeah.
Something tells me this ain't your run-of-the-mill storage depot. You do have a great facility for the obvious.
Wolverine says something about the armies approaching, and Beast says, you have a great facility for the obvious. I thought that's a really neat way of saying that. Now we have a firm grasp of the obvious.
So you go back to the mansion, and they are like just pumping Bobby for info, and they're like, oh, "What were you at the depot?" And he pretty much, the Professor is just like him and his lapdog Cyclops here, old Squinty, are just tag teaming him, just giving him shit. And
bad cop.
I'm like, just shut up, Cyclops.
Shut up, Squinty.
And so he gets up. Cyclops says, "Don't push me, Drake. I push back."
Oh man.
Iceman says, "Anytime, Apple Polisher, I'm right here." Apple Polisher. Take that, Squinty.
Oh, man, it's fire in Cyclops.
Iceman says, "You can't tell me who to fight anymore or how to feel. And you can't send me to the detention hall." And the Professor's like, "Oh, yeah, but I could trap you in my new bloody anti-gravity suspension device." Boom!
Hit him.
Gotcha.
Hit him with the gravity suspension
bitch.
device. Bit of Shi'ar tech that they pinched from...
the Morlock tunnels.
Morlock tunnels. So,
Yeah,
so that's a callback to Out of the Past Part 1 on 2.
Yeah.
I would have thought they would have got that technology from the ship like they got the other technology. I can't remember what technology they pinched in the previous episode.
Yeah, it's from the ship in the Morlock tunnels.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, Beast says that he's designed it to promote healing. But, oh, yeah, it also works to trap Iceman.
Trap Iceman. Outstanding.
Yeah, but he still won't tell the X-Men what he wants from the depot, and he can't trust any of them. He's tried that before.
DTA, baby, don't trust anybody.
We get another pixel wipe here to Jubilee. She jumps on the computer and she's just Googling Iceman.
Yeah.
And she finds out that he's one of the original team. So we got Beast here, the big Beast, no blue Beast.
Yeah, no blue Beast.
And we also got Cyclops. He's giving the old salute.
Yeah, that's cool because they're in their classic uniforms, the blue and the yellow.
And then there's Marvel Girl Jean, and then Iceman ice slides in.
I thought this was really neat.
Wolverine
really cool.
catches her in the act, and he also tells her that he's heard Iceman's dangerous to have around. Jubilee's like, kind of like you.
I think he has a line here, got to be careful about pretty packages or something like that.
That's right, he does say that.
Can't remember the rest.
Back in the gravity suspension device, Iceman is trying to escape, but it has no effect. Beast comes in with some food for the flesh and spirit.
It's a book and a sandwich, essentially.
And he's like, "Oh, we don't want any of it." And he's like,
"Is the young master not eating?"
Pity. Perhaps the dogs are hungry.
Yo, wow, wait up. You prefer talking about that Batman movie.
I do.
Good old Alfred. Still my favourite Alfred.
Then Beast just says, so where's Lorna? And then Iceman's like, this has nothing to do with Lorna.
Lorna.
This has just struck a nerve, something fierce. He's not happy.
When I heard the name Lorna, I just thought Lorna Cole. And I thought, where's that from? And I remember it's from Lethal Weapon 3. That's the name of Riggs' girlfriend.
Okay.
Carry on.
Jubilee is hiding outside the hall. She's listening to everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
Iceman then finally cracks here, spills the beans to Beast. And then we get the flashback of Iceman. He's like fighting that super adaptoid that's already seen before, the big green guy.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, and like so he like freezes it, and then it like shatters, and then goes all over Lorna, and they're like, "Oh no, she's gonna die." Oh no, she didn't die.
I feel as though that Lorna and Bobby would have been the Jean and Cyclops back in the day.
Yeah. So then he's never good enough for Xavier, and they nearly lose her. So then they decide they're going to leave.
Yeah.
This is where we see the professor. He's in like a standard wheelchair.
Yeah.
He's got a little red blankie over his knees.
That's the classic look, first class look.
And the old Iceman and Lorna take off. There is a shot here where it's behind the shoulder of the professor while they leave, and the professor's cut back into his green.
Yeah, he's back in the green suit. A little bit of a continuity goof there, but you can sort of forgive it.
This is when he gets a job as an accountant, and they love going to the fair and rollerblading around, and they're going to live happily ever after in the 90s. It's great. This is until Lorna starts reading the old Daily Bugle, and she decides she has to go back and use her powers for mutant rights because it's their duty.
I feel as though if I looked as normal as Iceman, I'd probably do the Iceman route. I don't think I'm a hero. I don't think I'm a villain. I'm just the guy in the middle, just trying to exist.
Got my kick-ass ice powers.
Yeah, I'll just keep things chilled. Seems very unheroic of me.
But Iceman doesn't want any of this. So one day he comes back from work and the place is trashed and Lorna's gone. Looks like someone's taken her. And the only clue he's got is a scrap piece of paper that says Kirby Glen on it. And then Beast's like, that's what the depot was called.
Connection. I put things together.
So my question here is, when did this happen? Did this happen yesterday?
Last week?
Exactly right. Or was this like 2 years ago? He's like, just walking around.
It just took him 2 years. Kirby Glen. He just put it on his fridge for 2 years. I've got to find out where Lorna's at. This also brought up a question for me. How old do you think Bobby Drake and Cyclops are?
Yeah, so it looks like
for them to have trained at Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, battled as the X-Men, grown up, got disenfranchised with the X-Men, leave, become an accountant for several years, have her disappear, and he finally track it out. How old do you reckon Bobby Drake would be and Cyclops in this?
So,
a lot could happen. Maybe they could be 30, 31.
Yeah, they have to be in their 30s.
Well, if they went to the School for Gifted Youngsters, 15.
Yep.
Fight as X-Men for 10 years. I mean, I get sick of my current job every 5 years.
Yeah.
That's usually when I get sick of it, so I'd probably leave sooner. So, 30, 31? Sound good?
That sounds about right. Did you want to go through Polaris here?
Polaris is Lorna, is it?
Lorna Dane.
Because they don't use her code name in this, right?
I don't think they do.
Okay, so Polaris, Lorna Jane, hit me.
She has magnetic field manipulation. Very similar to Magneto, who is her father.
Really?
Yes.
Mate, that Magneto gets around, doesn't he?
I believe...
Oh, you're kidding.
I believe the story is that, like, her mother had an affair with Magneto.
Yeah.
And so then the father's like, oh, this doesn't seem right. So the father takes the mother and Polaris up into an airplane, and then he's like, yeah, did you cheat on me? And then they have this big fight, and then she gets the shits and sort of rips apart the airplane, and then they crash and die.
Holy
and then she's
moly.
left by herself. I'm pretty sure that's the story. I'm sure the boys can figure it out.
What an origin. That's about as traumatic as Jeans in the Dark Phoenix movie.
So you tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh,
in.
Oh, Pat and what's the other one? Marcus and there's another guy, right? Scotty. Pat, Marcus, Scotty, the comic book buffs, let us know if Brooksy is right or wrong.
Pretty sure that's right.
That's insane.
And I'm sure there's something about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver too, isn't there?
Yeah, they're Magneto's kids.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, I didn't look that up though.
Yeah.
The Quicksilver is in this episode, but
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch isn't.
No. I always knew Magneto's kids were Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I never knew about Polaris with the magnetic field. Huh.
Yeah.
The mistress of magnetism.
Because I'm pretty sure she's in one of those shows too that I don't watch.
All right. Well, her hair in this is bright green, and she
Yeah.
loves green lipstick. I thought that was part of her power. I had no idea she had
I'm pretty sure,
magnetic fields.
her hair is green. It's like, she got out of that shower one day, my hair's green.
Oh, okay. It was before they had good hair dye. She went swimming in a chlorinated pool.
There you go.
Polaris, eh? Cool.
Okay, so back here, Iceman thinks that the government has grabbed Lorna and pleads with Beast to release him. But he won't. Beast is like, no, man,
No, I can't do that, bro.
got to do it properly. So he leaves, and Beast gets halfway down the hallway and goes, oh, hang on, man, I still got this damn book in my hand. Let me give this back. So he walks back in to give it to Iceman, and he's gone.
So, vanished. I think Jubilee let him out.
So we go to an ad break now. We come back from the ad break, and of course it was Jubilee that took Iceman, and they've gone back to Kirby Glen. They're trying to break in, and she wants to help with the escape.
I'm sensing a pattern here. She's got the hots for older mutant men.
Any guy that comes in.
Yeah, it's like Colossus, Longshot, Bobby Drake. All good-looking dudes, all much older than this 15-year-old chick. She's always breaking the rules, man.
So they break in again. He gets her to blow up the camera, probably a good idea. And then
I don't think it's a good idea. It's because she makes loud fireworks. Wouldn't it be just as easy to ice it and keep it nice and quiet?
yeah.
Jesus, Bobby.
So then he ices the fence. They go inside. And he's like, yeah, see, it's easy. And then all of a sudden, Havoc, bang, got them both, knocked out, gone.
Nailed them both. They run into the mysterious mutant members that we don't fully see.
Not yet. We see a bunch of X's.
Yes, we do.
And a robot leg.
Who has a robot leg?
The X-Men then take off in the X-Jet again to track down. And Cyclops is still fucking bitching.
He's still,
oh my
still
God.
on about it.
So yeah, once they find out how to get inside this facility, we just see on the security cameras, you can see them, and it's Forge we can see here. He's watching them, and he tells the security to leave the X-Men out of it, and they'll deal with it. Jubilee and then Iceman just wake up tied to some chairs. Iceman he's able to get out of his restraints, but these metal mittens, no chance with Jubilee. She's got nothing.
They got her powers scouted. They just left Iceman in his ropes.
Yeah, Iceman just ices up and then flexes and bang, gone.
Easy.
Iceman then says, time to kiss this door goodbye. And then Wolverine just comes crashing through the door again. Suddenly Wolverine.
Wouldn't that be terrifying? You go to open a door, Wolverine, he crash tackles you to the ground. Oh, shit.
You wouldn't want to open the door for the rest of your life.
Nah, baby, you get this one. Wolverine might be on the other side.
The Cyclops again comes in, just starts bitching again at Jubilee for an Iceman.
Oh, in their ears.
And then bloody Professor finally decides to stick up for him and her, and he's like, oh, look, man, maybe I should have been more of a friend to him than the old disapproving headmaster. Maybe I should have listened to this guy instead of just tag teaming him with Cyclops and bitching about shit.
Well, Professor's growing a little bit here.
But then the therapy session is busted up by Havoc and X-Factor.
X-Factor, which I misattributed last week. I called him X-Force. I'm still too excited.
X-Force.
X-Force. Dun, 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 dun. Deadpool's so cool. Wonder why they didn't make an X-Factor movie. Could have just as easily started around X-Men. X-Force.
So yeah, you want to break down X-Force?
Oh, no, you better do it. You got the notes.
Well,
I know Forge, Havoc, Strong Guy, Multiple Man, She-Beast. What the hell's her name? Wolfsbane.
That's it.
Wolfsbane. Did I leave anybody out? Polaris.
Speed Man.
Oh, and Quicksilver.
That's it.
I got a pretty strong team.
Hey, yo, you dealing with the X Factor.
Yeah, it's really good. So yeah, they got Forge. His mutant ability functions as perception as he possesses the ability to visually perceive mechanical energy. So pretty much
He can create stuff like Iron Man, but it's a mutant power.
He's really good. That's why he's got a robot leg.
I don't know if he lost it in injury or just decided, you know what, I'm
He
sick.
lost it in there.
Oh, wait. Really?
I don't know.
It's really old then, because he's also Forge from the future, hangs out with Bishop.
That's right. It was a shark.
Forge, this is Bishop.
Then we got Havoc, who's Alex Summers. He's Cyclops' brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's why their powers don't work on each other.
Same like Black Tom and Banshee.
That's right. So he has ambient energy conversion, heat immunity, radiation immunity.
So was the first one ambient energy conversion? Oh, okay. Is that what it was called in First Class when he did his hula hoop dance? And
I don't know what they
I thought it called it something else, energy beams. But anyway, that's regardless. He has energy beams out of his hands.
Yeah, then you got Polaris, Lorna Dane. She's got the
Magnetic fields.
Then you got Multiple Man, James Madrox. He's got the kinetic duplication. So something I found out about him is
he robs several banks all at the same time. Oh, Last Stand reference.
You got to let me out here. I need to pee.
That wasn't him.
So what I found out about him is he can make multiples of himself, but he can send them off to like learn stuff, and then it comes back to him.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he reabsorbs it, and he's like, oh yeah, I learned Spanish. Sweet.
Does his clone each time makes a copy? Are they weaker than him? That would.
I didn't find that out. No,
mate.
that wasn't in the mingle. That doesn't mean it's not right.
Oh,
but
right.
yeah, I didn't read that. No.
That'd be my power.
Then you got Wolfsbane, Rani Sinclair. So pretty much she's a werewolf, but she can be a werewolf at any time.
Oh yeah, like Beast in Dark Phoenix, just turns it on and off.
There you go. And she can remember what happened when she's a werewolf.
Oh, okay, so she's just werewolf powers. Huh.
Well, it's like called lycanthropy.
Yeah, lycanthropy.
That's it. Then you got Strong Guy. He's Guido Carosella. Carosella. Yeah, he's strong.
I'm pretty familiar with Strong Guy because one of the comic books that I inherited or got given by my dad's mate from work was Strong Guy vs. the Blob. And it was one of the most best illustrated action comic books I ever had. Though it starts off like Strong Guy's narrating the whole thing, and he's got an accent, so it was really hard to read at the time because there's all these commas and abbreviated words like this and that, and like, what's he talking about? Does he have a speech impediment or something? But yeah, there's this awesome.
Guido.
He broke it down in his narration. He absorbs energy and converts it into strength. Is that what you have down your notes? And in this scene, they're fighting at an airport, and they're on an airplane. And Blob punts him off the landing gear, and he falls through 6 flights of a building. And there's this cool top-down shot of him going through all of them. And he mentions that normally I'm a big-looking dude, but because of my superpower, absorb extra strength, I was freaking huge. And he's just standing there like a balloon or a pufferfish, and he uses all that energy to stop the airplane. I thought, man, this guy's cool, but he looks really weird.
So that is Strong Guy.
I like Strong Guy.
Then the last guy is Quicksilver. So he's quick.
What's his real name again?
Pietro Maximoff.
Pietro Maximoff. And he's fast.
He's fast. Like, he makes
not fast. Fast people say, not fast. 10 points if you get that reference.
I'm surprised you know that reference.
That is the
not
only
a big fan.
It's the only Sandler movie I'll watch. That and Bulletproof.
You watch Bulletproof too?
Not regularly, but I like that one because it had guns in it.
Like Wayne's Boys in there.
Yeah, because I have a metal plate in my head.
Okay, so this is where we get our big X-Men v X-Factor fight scene.
Great action here.
So it's pretty cool stuff, like you got Jubilee, Blind, and Quicksilver.
Yeah, I got one.
You got Iceman. He makes old strong guy slip over. The cool things with Iceman is like he gets in the air and he makes like an ice spinny slide to get himself back down.
Yeah, slippery dip, so he's not just crashing to the ground. He's very creative with his use of powers.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because it sort of like shows off his his mental state. He's very adept at his powers. He knows what he's doing. He's really good at it, and he's very creative with his ice sculptures. Like Frozone out of The Incredibles.
And then you got like Havoc and Cyclops. Their powers are not working in each other, and they're just walking around a circle looking at each other.
Yeah, there's a huge sizing up moment here that was to be very significant, but they don't pay it off, or they don't hint at it at the beginning either.
And that sort of cut too, because it comes back like, oh, it doesn't make sense. Oh, what? Oh, let's just fight more.
Yeah, they blast at each other. Havoc takes it, he blasts Cyclops, he takes it, and then they're just looking at each other, and then they just start punching on. When all else fails, your knuckles won't.
Wolfsbane and Beast having a bit of a tussle at the top.
Yeah.
She's throwing the old werewolf at him.
Yeah, he's like, oh dear.
You got anything else about this fight scene?
Multiple Man's fighting Wolverine.
That's the other one.
It's really cool. I think Wolverine says something to him. I don't know if it's in your notes. And then he does the that's tops with his hand or that's gold, and he just summons multiple clones of himself, and they get into a huge punch up. Wolverine doesn't have his claws out, and Multiple Man's just running circles around him. I thought that's pretty cool.
He says, "Plant one on me." He says, "Punch me in the face," and he goes to, but he doubles out and he goes straight through the middle. Yeah. And he's like, "What is this, a 2-for-1 sale?" Yeah. And he goes, "More like a baker's dozen."
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And they surround him. And then get into this big melee, and he's just nailing on 13 guys.
This made me a fan of Multiple Man. And his tiny little bit, I love him. I'm a fan of Multiple Man.
So yeah, the X Factor are getting a bit of the upper hand here.
They are.
Yeah, they're
the military training is good. They've done their research.
This is when Xavier comes over, contacts all the X-Men, tells them they maybe should switch who they're fighting against, and that seems to work perfectly.
Yeah, because I think Strong Guy was getting the upper hand on Iceman. Yep. Quicksilver was fighting Jubilee, had her in a tornado, and she got a fireworks off and took out Strong Guy.
Took out Havoc.
Oh, it was Havoc, was it?
Knocked out Havoc.
And then he goes, okay, switch partners, everybody, and start the dance again. I feel as though that's been used in other movies and TV shows. Want to switch partners or whatever.
All right.
Whenever someone's fighting someone they've got equal or they're losing to, they say, they bump into their teammates. So you want to switch partners? They do, and that's how they win the day. I swear I've seen that before, but that was really cool. And I like that Professor X really getting involved in this episode. Yep. He's doing a bit of something. And before he's sent out the metal projection of the kaiju, and now he's communicating with his team, helping them out, being a leader. I thought that's really cool.
So yeah, the last one is Strong Guy. That's when Wolverine drops a bloody reservoir on top of him.
Try absorbing these.
And then Iceman decides to go up to passed out Strong Guy. He's like, all right, where's Lorna today? So Forge comes over. He's like, "Oh, she's right here." And he runs over, "Lorna!" And she just looks over his shoulder and sees Havoc passed out. It's like, "Oh no, Havoc!" And just runs past him. He's like, oh, "What?"
Whoa! So that's real. So now I feel as though Havoc and her name's not Ascension, Polaris. They're like Cyclops and Jean of X Factor.
That's right.
Man, the Summers boys, they will get the girls interested in him. Interested in them.
So this is when the professor shows up and Forge introduces his team to everyone. This is when he goes through everyone, so everyone knows who it is.
Yeah. And that's what they say, this is Strong Guy, Havoc, blah, 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 and Multiple Man. And he's frozen. All the copies are frozen, so he smashes out and becomes one. So, yeah, he figured it out. Multiple Man's cool.
He explains they are a mutant team recently formed under the federal government, which just pisses the professor off. Hey, I work for the government. How come I don't know about this?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of jealousy going on here between Professor and Cyclops of their counterparts or whatever.
And then, old Forge is like, "Oh, we just saw you coming in." Like, "Oh, yeah, we want to have a bit of a tussle, see what's going on."
Yeah, let's try them, see if we can take them out.
Bit of a friendly exchange.
The legendary X-Men.
Might be able to learn a few pointers. And
Wolverine says, "I got your pointers right here." Claw draw. I feel though, yeah, this makes sense that it would piss Wolverine off the most.
Yeah.
I could have killed everybody here if I had these claws out. Could have stabbed multiple men multiple times.
Polaris then explains that she was recruited by Forge because she was like an XX man, and that she faked a disappearance because she just didn't want to like live with Iceman anymore, and she didn't want to fight with him about leaving.
That seems like such a girl solution to this problem.
It's just fake my death.
I'd
That's
rather
better.
pretend I'm dead or missing
Then hang out with
than
you.
hang out with him anymore. What if he proposes, good Lord, better pretend I'm dead.
And then she's like,
How long ago was this? We need to know.
I know.
Was
And
it
then
last week?
it gets better. It's like, she's like, I just wanted a fresh start, all right? And then I met Havoc, and now I'm in love. And it's like, oh, man. Poor Iceman. He's getting crushed here.
Iceman gets burnt.
Oh.
Don't want to be Iceman, but he can have all the underage Jubilee he wants.
And he's got no comeback. He's just like,
Where do you go from there?
Man,
Okay.
okay.
I broke into this government depot for you, and you're seeing this other effing Summers guy. I figure Wolverine and him would get along great.
So that's why we need to know how long it takes. Like, did I just spend a year looking for you I wasted a year of my life, or it's just 2 days? And he's like, oh, well.
I wasted a year looking for you.
Wasted 2 days. That's okay.
I better move on.
I'll slide into some other chick's DMs.
Yeah. But she goes, oh, I feel sorry or something, and he goes, you'll get over it.
Yep.
I thought, oh, well,
He's over it.
He's
way too cool.
giving her the cold shoulder.
Cyclops and Wolverine still keen to have another fight here.
Yeah. What, Cyclops and Wolverine?
Yep. It's like Wolverine, Cyclops, and you got like Havoc and Multiple Man or Strong Man.
Oh,
on the
they
other side.
still want to fight X
And
Factor.
Forge, yeah, they're like, yeah.
This ain't over, Bob. Round 2 sort of talk.
That's it.
That'd be cool to see.
We then go back to the mansion, and Bobby's just heading off. And again, where? They don't say. He's just like, oh yeah, I guess I
Where
better
I'm
go.
going, I haven't decided yet.
Yeah. Then Jubilee's just like, oh, you think we'll see him again? Fred's like, oh, I can only hope.
And she starts crying just like with Longshot.
Yeah.
She doesn't take goodbyes very well.
And yeah, that's the end of the episode. It's just like, oh yeah, so he's going to go off by himself.
I'm keeping the uniform.
Yeah. I'm just going to ice slide out of here.
Ah, well. Each person needs to find their own path.
And that's the end of that chapter.
And that's the end of that chapter.
So what'd you think of that one, Brooksy?
This was a lot better than last episode.
Ooh, yeah. Macho Man style. It was so much better. Hashtag my X-Men.
Yeah, you go to your, what do we like in an episode?
Oh, we like badass moments, great fight scenes, and funny stuff. This had a lot of it.
This had most of it.
This had most of it. Not too many badass moments. They all come from Wolverine,
Yeah.
but funny stuff was there with Wolverine. Saving the episode, man. Whenever he's in his gold. And then this great fight scene. So I was digging this episode big time.
So, do you have a favourite part?
Probably the battle sequence. X Factor versus the X-Men. That was really cool. We get to see both their powers, both teams going and showing off their powers, what makes them special, and who's coming out on top. We get a whole bunch of Multiple Man doing his thing, which I wager would have been a animator's nightmare.
Oh, yeah,
That's why he only makes this one appearance, and it's pretty epic. So that was pretty cool, seeing all that sort of stuff. Action sequence were really cool. So yeah, that was my favourite part. What about you?
My favourite part's got to be one of the entrances. So it's either Iceman icing the door and just punching through, or Wolverine come flying through that door at Iceman. It's one of them. They're two classic entrances. Like, wow.
Oh, that Wolverine door moment is pretty epic.
Wow.
I'm not doing any more doors, baby. Glass doors in this house.
So what's your favourite quote?
It's got to be Wolverine in there. Got to be careful about pretty packages. Touch of overkill, Squinty. There's even a line at the start where they ask, "Oh, whose side is he on?" Talking about Iceman, and then Beast or Xavier says, he was on our side, but now he's a rogue, but we still need to bring him back. And Wolverine goes, boy, I'm glad we cleared that up. Oh, he's done it again. But I think I will say my favourite line is when Wolverine threatens to carve Iceman up into cocktail ice for 100.
All right, yeah.
That is very clever insult and a very, very clever threat. It's got everything happening for that, so that could be my favourite quote. Though there were heaps of good one-liners in this one. Wolverine's killing it.
The other good one is when Iceman calls Cyclops an apple polisher.
An apple polisher.
But yeah, my favourite one has got to be a touch of overkill there, Squinty. Any hassling a Cyclops, I love it.
Oh, they call you Wheels. That's just what I think about. It's just he's taken what he sees in front of him and roasts them. He's roasting them Jeff Ross style. I love it.
Oh, Squinty. So how do you rate this one?
I was having a lot of fun in this episode. I'm not sure if the animation style of this one was a little bit weird. It felt a little out of the past part one, like there was cool shading effects. Characters were a little bit off-model, but that was just Xavier. Mm-hmm. But everyone else sort of felt like they looked right. So animation-wise, this one was pretty fun. Action-wise, was pretty good. Badass moments, action, and funny stuff. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10.
An 8?
I'll give this one an 8. I don't give 7s. It's better than a 6.5. This is an 8.
Well, I've given this one an 8 too. IMDb is on 7.8.
Okay, we're pretty on par with IMDb here. Is there anything you would have done to make it better? I mean...
the ending. I don't like the ending where it's just open and he's like not going to do something. Like maybe even if he just said, look, I'm going to go back and be an accountant. I make heaps of money. It's tax time. Give me a call.
Tax time, give me a call. I don't think Professor X pays any taxes.
That's right. He gets all his money from bloody government.
So yeah, that would have been cool. Wrap up the ending a little bit, and feels like you couldn't cram any more story into this one. This one was pretty packed. Probably why they didn't have a previously on X-Men, just to squeeze as much episode in as they could. Yep. Plus, there was no backstory to tell. I don't think I would have done much to make this episode better. Maybe more bad. I don't know. They don't all have to have badass moments. This one felt pretty good where it was. I don't know. Maybe even more funny stuff.
8 out of 10. It's
not bad. Yeah,
it's hard to make that better.
Nah. But it's a good one. I really enjoyed Cold Comfort. Everyone should check it out.
No more labs. Okay, bub. Gene. I believe Emily Dickinson said it best. Fascinating.
All right, is it time for tally time, Brooks?
That it is.
All right, what do you got for us?
So, although there was a lot of Beast, there was no Beast quotes. And also, no Beast fascinatings. He couldn't throw a fascinating in anyway. He could have put one in there when the professor caught him in that gravity suspension machine. Fascinating.
I feel like because he installed it, I don't think he'd call that fascinating. Maybe when...
Well, that's not what he designed it for.
Oh, okay.
He designed it for the healing.
I would have had Beast say it when Polaris runs over to Havoc instead of Iceman. Fascinating.
So, yeah, he's stuck on 10. Do you want to have a crack at how many claw draws?
I can't imagine there'd be too many. Let's say 4.
5.
Ah.
So we're up to 46 for the season and 149 through the 37 episodes.
Getting in them claw draws.
But there's no Bubs, so we're still at 9 for Bubs. No Gene, so no Gene faints. And sound effects, still got a few T1000 explosions.
They're leaning on that T1000. Oh, it's time for Generation Mailbag and fan questions. What you got for us today, Brooks?
What do you want to go through first?
Go with just the mailbag first, then we'll go into fan questions.
Okay, so we have another iTunes review.
Oh, hit me.
This one is titled, Gene Fainted Over How Good This Was.
Oh, man. I'm glad the listeners are loving the show and incorporating all of our, I wouldn't say memes, but our callbacks and tallies. That's great.
So yeah, this was a very interesting review. So it says, after watching a YouTube interview with the creators of the animated series, I ended up jumping from vid to vid until I found an episode of this podcast.
Going down the YouTube rabbit hole.
Haven't we all done that? It's thanks to these guys. I have then watched the whole series in order and subscribed to the podcast.
Wow.
And it's like being in the 90s again. Having somebody mock Jean Grey and the idiot Scott Summers the way I always did is more fun than I expected.
Hashtag sorry, Marcus.
That's from Swazlib, SWAZLIB.
Swazlib, yeah.
Yeah.
And he found us on YouTube.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, yeah.
That is so interesting. So many times I just write off YouTube. Oh, it's just another box to tick for us to send out the podcast to, because I don't keep up with the YouTube.
No,
I'm really starting to think I need to monitor the YouTube and start releasing more content out on YouTube and stuff.
We always say that, like, it would be awesome to have all these videos with all these things that we like and that sort of stuff, but it just takes so long. We don't have that time. Like, we're flat out doing the bloody podcast as it is.
I'm going to really try and put the effort in and make this YouTube channel happen. We've got to get some stuff out on there.
Yeah.
I think the next time I get some Marvel Legends in the mail, I'll just set up the camera and say, hey, listen, this is our next mutant Marvel merch or mutant merch, and we'll just do a live unboxing or something like that. But I do plan, this is an announcement I'm going to make here and now, that I do plan on doing a comparison of the two versions of No Mutant is an Island.
Right.
I talked about doing it during the podcast, that we should break it down, but because it's so visual and related on what we're seeing, I think it really lends itself to a YouTube video essay, or just so much just me talking about the different styles and animations of it. So I will do it. It is on the horizon. I don't know when. Keep your eyes peeled. Generation X-Men podcast on YouTube will be a thing. We're going to get it happening. I promise. And what's the dude's name again? Swazlib. Thanks for the review, mate. We've got some more YouTube vids coming your way. Them rabbit holes on YouTube, you can find anything.
Oh, man.
You really ask too many questions.
So this is Q&A.
So we got a few questions from Marcus.
Hey, hashtag thank you, Marcus. Hashtag thank you, Marcus.
He's got two questions for us.
Okay.
Question number 1. Would you rather fight one beast-sized duck or 10 duck-sized beasts? He'd have the same exact power set, just proportioned down to the size of a duck.
I heard this question be asked to Chad Stahelski, the director of John Wick. I think it was like one duck-sized horse or several horse-sized ducks. Oh, no, one horse-sized duck or several duck-sized horses. And he said one horse-sized duck because it's easier to keep your eye on one target.
Yeah.
But a horse-sized beast, he's already pretty big.
A bit bigger.
It'd be like Beast when he gets turned feral in like season 5 or whatever. I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. So maybe I'd go the ducks because it'd be less of a handful. I'm going to go against Chad Stahelski and go against the duck-sized beasts. Heaps of them, because I can't imagine they do too much damage.
10 duck-sized beasts. That's what you're going
let's
for.
lock that in. What would you do?
I'd go for the one beast-sized duck. Oh. Yep. I'd take my chances. Question number 2. If you could have one of the core X-Men's powers, whose would you want and why?
God.
Be mindful that their weaknesses are a part of their package too. So if you pick Wolverine, you have to keep an eye out for Ruckus when he goes
Oh man, the X-Men, core X-Men's powers, which ones would I have? Geez, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
So yeah, you could have Professor's awesome powers, but then you have to be a douchebag. So
you have Storm's powers, but you always have to call your shots in a fancy poem that doesn't rhyme.
Lightning.
Rain, help my turf grow.
Do you know what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning?
Does that mean if I pick Gene, I'll have to faint if I overexert
That's right.
myself?
That's it.
Is there some sort of cardio I can do where I don't overexert myself every time? Damn it.
And then you got to turn into the Phoenix and fly into the sun.
I don't want to do that. So I would probably lock in Storm's powers, the try manipulating weather patterns and everything, because she seems in control of everything she does.
Right.
She can fly, she can do all that shit. She can do the quick change uniform that we haven't seen in a while since the first episode, and she doesn't have any sort of features that stops her from existing in regular society without being noticed or anything. And no real drawbacks either. Any drawbacks to Storm besides
the talking?
Besides the poetry that doesn't rhyme before you use your powers? I would say that. I'd lock in Storm's powers because I could use the weather for a fog for a quick getaway, lightning strike some toads, call down the rain if Dad needs his grass to grow or whatever. I don't know. But I'd do Storm's powers. I think that's going against the grain. What about you, Brooks?
Before I answered, I was just thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, if you're Cyclops, right, and you go to bed,
yes,
how do you wake up in the morning? Because the first thing you do is open your eyes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a
and
pain.
then you're just tearing holes in your room every morning. Like, do you have to sleep with goggles on? How are you going to sleep with goggles on? That's what I'm thinking.
You know those blinders that people put on when they're on planes? And
Yeah.
They probably just... When they wake up, they probably don't open their eyes, right?
I don't know. Maybe he has to wear one of them that has some sort of thing that can stop his concussive blast.
He has to gaffer tape his eyes shut every night.
Yeah, like what happens if he just,
Ow! Ow, where are my glasses?
He gets tired watching the TV in the Arvo on a Sunday and falls asleep, wakes up, oh shit, blasts the TV.
He could keep his glasses on.
See, I don't know how you could sleep with... I don't wear glasses all the time, but I don't think you could sleep with glasses on.
Well, people who wear glasses don't go to sleep with glasses on.
that's right.
They take them off.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking, but I'm definitely not going to be Cyclops.
Nah, that's too rough, mate.
Nah, I think I'd pick Gambit.
Gambit? Oh, that's a good one, too.
Yeah, he doesn't have many downsides. Plenty of women.
Charges anything he wants.
Just charges stuff and throws it. It's great. He's awesome with a bow staff.
You love throwing stuff.
I do love throwing stuff. And if it could explode, that'd be even better.
You're pitching in baseball against someone really good. Just charge up the ball, blow up his bat, his favourite bat. Wonder Bat!
So, yeah, I'd have to go with Gambit.
That's a pretty good choice.
Wears a sweet cape. Yeah.
Of the non-core X-Men, I'd probably go Colossus because it's really cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
no drawbacks to that.
If you went to the
Russian.
further mutants, you'd have to have someone that's similar to Rogue that doesn't have that downside of not being able to touch anything.
or
it's like a Captain Marvel.
Other than that, I would, if I didn't have to have their drawbacks, straight away I'd go Professor.
Yeah.
So it's just bound to freeze everybody, read their minds.
Read everyone's mind.
Like in First Class, you'd pick up chicks like that. Yeah. It'd be too easy. The game would be too easy.
That's
and
probably
listening to all their bullshit.
Where Jean would be better because then you could move stuff as well.
But she hasn't got that endurance. Hasn't got that cardiovascular conditioning.
Always passing.
It's always passing out, and I don't like passing out. But yeah, good questions.
So yeah, keep those questions coming. They're awesome,
mate. Keep them coming in. They're golden. Extra talking points. Love it. All right, it's time for Marvel movie news. Now, I hinted earlier in the episode, did Kevin Feige bury Dark Phoenix for Captain Marvel? Boy, I got tagged in this Instagram post, which led me to this website, superhero.everything. And I was in that Instagram page, and I sent it straight to you, Brooksy. You had to read through it, right?
I did.
Shocking stuff, but it all makes sense. Basically, it's whether it's true or not is yet to be determined. I don't think anybody knows besides Kinberg, Kevin Feige, and Fox Studios that basically after the deal was done, or during when the deal was done between the Fox and Disney merger, Feige put a halt to Dark Phoenix because there were too many similarities between Dark Phoenix and Captain Marvel, and he didn't want Captain Marvel to be playing second fiddle to the X-Men franchise that was wrapping up. Right. So they wanted Captain Marvel to shine. And based on that, Captain Marvel does $1 billion worldwide. Dark Phoenix is barely cracking or barely breaking even. So I'll read through a little bit of what I've read here. It all makes pretty much makes a lot of sense to me. And the heading is called Disney/Fox sabotages Dark Phoenix for Captain Marvel and Brie Larson. I don't know if Brie Larson should have been roped into that. Sure, she had nothing to say. But this is might get a little bit dry, so I try and keep it interesting in the read. Reports are surfacing that a much better cut of X-Men Dark Phoenix exists that would have better fleshed out the story and included even more action and improved dialogue and a worthwhile villain. More on that below. According to fans that have viewed the cut, it would have added up to 22 minutes more footage. Fans that have viewed the two different cuts of Dark Phoenix movie offers lines that were changed in the theatrical version of the film that took away from the much better extended version. The theatrical release of Dark Phoenix has a runtime of less than 2 hours, while the preceding two X-Men films are near 2.5 hours in length. So, by the sounds of it, Kinberg had 2 Dark Phoenix movies planned, which would definitely have fleshed out the good Dark Phoenix and perhaps the turn into the Dark Phoenix that you and I were talking about.
That's what
in
we
the
said.
last episode. So, anyway, continues on. Comparisons to the Kinberg cut are now being made with what happened with Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, cut down to 2 hours. See, but it goes on to say which Warner Brothers executives interfere with Snyder's vision and fans campaign for the release of the Snyder cut. Now, opposed to having 2 films, I've been following the Snyder cut since it's happened. He had something ridiculous, like 5 movies planned, and that's just way too much Justice League, for crying out loud. And when you had to condense 5 Justice League movies into one and then have the runtime be 2 hours instead of 2.5 hours, of course Justice League is going to fail. But the idea of trying to set up 5 movies about the same story, I mean...
Same hot garbage.
It's ridiculous. I mean, what... Infinity War and Endgame, that's 2 movies is more than enough.
Yeah.
And they were each about 3 hours running time. But this goes back to me wanting filmmakers just focus on doing one good movie, because you can always tell a good story in one movie. You don't need 2, and 2 movies can be taken away from you like that. I mean, no one, when they made the first Batman, I mean, they're just trying to make they're just trying to make one good movie. They're not trying to set up a universe and set up the story. I always look at, when you make a movie, just go out like this is your last shot, you know? Just try and make the absolute best. And if it does well, then you get a sequel. This whole multi-film storytelling, just leave it up to the MCU. And even there, they're not setting 100% onto these extended stories. They're still trying to tell one movie at a time.
Yeah.
That's definitely how you should be doing it. But I'll continue on. Now, why would Fox cut Dark Phoenix and even go so far as to change lines in the film, this article asks? Well, that would have happened if audience favoured and liked Sophie Turner and Jean Grey in the Dark Phoenix movie more than Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, as Dark Phoenix was supposed to be released prior to Captain Marvel. How is Marvel Studios and Disney going to promote Captain Marvel as the first Marvel female superhero movie if Dark Phoenix gets released November 2018 or February 2019? That makes a ton of sense to me if you're backing this conspiracy theory
That seems more plausible.
Feige buries it. Okay? I mean, the whole marketing strategy around Captain Marvel, the first female superhero to come out of Marvel. They couldn't do it ever because Wonder Woman beat them to that. And for me personally, I did like Sophie Turner better than I did like Brie Larson.
Yeah.
I thought emotionally she went to places that Brie Larson didn't. Brie Larson as Captain Marvel was a one-note sort of character. She's sort of quirky badass, starts out that way and ends quirky badass, but she's got full powers and is unstoppable. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Dark Phoenix had so much more emotionality going on. So that makes sense. If they release it as is, I'm more Dark Phoenix than I am Captain Marvel. But as for financial aspects, even if this Dark Phoenix was the best version of the film it could be, I doubt that it would be doing $1 billion worldwide.
Right.
The best X-Men movie, not in Deadpool, I think is to do the money. I think it was like X-Men 2 or something like that. I don't believe even Days of Future
Days of
Past.
Future Past, yeah, did
Was it-
723.
Was that the biggest earner, Future
Yeah.
Past? Oh, well, that makes sense. Days of Future Past is the biggest earner. Why? Because it's got the star power of Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, the list goes on. Jennifer Lawrence, blah, 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 blah. And it's a huge convergence of story and continuity and cast and character. Whereas Dark Phoenix is the sort of, if they had the reboot, whatever, the continuation, it's only got the current cast. It doesn't have the draw that Days of Future Past did. So even at its peak, its potential peak as Dark Phoenix, I don't think it would have made as much money as Captain Marvel was. I think they're just really just playing it safe. Let's bury Dark Phoenix just in case. Even though I don't think, or analysts would ever say, that Dark Phoenix would outdo anything in the MCU.
Right.
So that's me shooting down that theory. But Feige says himself that Brie Larson and Captain Marvel are taking the lead and will be the forefront of Marvel Universe. That can't happen if X-Men's Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey, and Sophie Turner come out on top. Certainly if fans, even the general audience, saw the original, better version of Dark Phoenix prior to Captain Marvel, that they would have second-guessed what Feige and Marvel Studios were doing. Even going so far as accusing Captain Marvel of ripping off Dark Phoenix. Again, Feige, Marvel, and Disney couldn't let that happen. Billions of dollars were at stake. So that's probably why those changes were happening. There's a few more here. If it doesn't work, I'll cut it for time. Captain Marvel and Brie Larson can't lose. Regarding Captain Marvel and Brie Larson, while promoting the release of Captain Marvel amid fan backlash, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige told fans, note, bold emphasis on my own, so this is just the writer, she's one of the most popular characters in our comics. She's one of the most powerful characters in the comics and will be the most powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Feige also added, and one of the highlights of my career at Marvel was introducing her at Comic-Con and having her coming out on stage and stand there with literally almost everything else from our universe, and there she was at the forefront, and it was great foreshadowing of not just how audiences are going to embrace Brie as this character, but also for how Captain Marvel is about to take the lead and be the forefront of the entire cinematic universe. She goes on to say it all adds up. So adding things up, Simon Kinberg's initial plan is to make a 2-part Dark Phoenix movie, but during pre-production he was forced to only make it one movie. For some reason, Kinberg decided to cut the runtime, cut scenes, and change dialogue for the worse. The release date was changed not once but twice, from November 2018 to February 2019 before the release of Disney's Captain Marvel, to a June-summer 2019 release after Captain Marvel, which deadline offers was also a big mistake, as the movie was never intended to be a summer film. Dark Phoenix is darker and more psychologically complex than other X-Men movies. It was also seen as an off-screen release, and the original plan was to get out ahead of Captain Marvel, which was March 8, and be the first female-led Marvel movie. Back in January, when Disney fans' shield sites were stating the movie was bad, sources close to Fox told me that a lot of hard work was done on the movie, and those involved were proud of what they accomplished. The question remains, is the theatrical release the version what they accomplished? So they're saying, is there a Kinberg cut with better stuff in there, or a better finale? I imagine if there would be, it would be unfinished. It'd be a cliffhanger. Tune in next time to see what happens. Got some dot points here. Kinberg and Fox Studio decided on an epic 2-part Dark Phoenix movie. Word of the Disney-Fox deal came down from on high, so Kinberg was forced to make it only one film. As it is only one film, a lot had to be changed, such as villains. Meanwhile, Feige, Disney, and Marvel Studios had been developing the Captain Marvel movie starring Brie Larson, which is to become the face of the new MCU following Endgame and the original actors leaving. Kinberg's Dark Phoenix and Feige's Captain Marvel are very similar. Kinberg's Dark Phoenix has a November 28 release date prior to Captain Marvel. Audience will first see Sophie Turner as the cosmically empowered character that involves aliens. Captain Marvel will follow, but audiences will be left scratching their heads as they just saw the same movie a few months prior. And Disney Fox deal continues to get approval and go through. See, that's just what we did after we see Dark Phoenix, after we saw Captain Marvel first. We were thinking, didn't we just see this with Captain Marvel when it should have been the other way around?
Yeah.
Didn't we just see this with Dark Phoenix? So it's really sort of turned into Twilight Zone shit for me, Brooksy. And in another dimension, Dark Phoenix did come out before, and the two-parter is on the way, and we're thinking, oh man, this is Captain Marvel's crap. It's just ripping off our Dark Phoenix movie, which is great, or whatever. I'm sure we'd still be bitching about the costumes. Disney and Feige don't want Dark Phoenix to interfere with massive plans for Brie Larson. Disney tells Fox and Kingbird to change Dark Phoenix, including plot details, the release, blah, 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 blah. Dark Phoenix undergoes cuts, rewrites, editing, reshoots, similar to include the similar ending to Captain Marvel. Fox Studios marketing is blamed in part for Dark Phoenix failure, though for at least 2 months it falls under Disney, and it is known prior to the deal having gone through that employees left and were replaced. Okay, here's the Dark Phoenix extended cut details. This is the interesting stuff, guys. Hang in there. In the two-parter, Jessica Chastain was to play Lilandra of the Shi'ar, not an obscure villain. Consider this a rumour. More on that below. It is noted, if you pay attention to the theatrical release, that a lot of Jessica Chastain's lines comes off-screen, meaning they were added after filming had already been done. That's the trick. If something is happening off-screen or dialogue is said, it's mean they don't have the actor saying that, so they have to film the back of her head and just dub the lines in later. You see that in certain movies, that pops up. Scott and Jean's footage relationship was fleshed out more. That's something that we complained about. Hank and Raven's scene was extended where Hank was going to leave with her. That's the thing that we complained about. Xavier was to leave the bank with a full police escort leading back to the school. That was just shortened. I don't know if we needed to see that. Jessica Chastain talking with her alien people about humans, the Phoenix Force, and mutants was extended. The inhabitants of Genosha were first scared when Jean arrived. Magneto's line was cut in the theatrical release. He was supposed to say, "I've seen evil. I know what it looks like when it's staring back at me, and I'm looking at it now." Jessica Chastain and the Jean bar scene was cut short, with Chastain saying, "You think you don't belong here, you don't." Jean was also to have slight fire in her hair in a scene, part of which was completed from the first original version of the film and wasn't altered for the new third act yet, which saw it removed. Yeah, we asked for a bit more fire. Everything after Jean stopping herself from killing Xavier is from reshoots, with the sole exception of the school rename and Summer Fontana's astral plane scene. Most of Chastain's lines after Jean stops attacking Xavier were new. Xavier was just supposed to say she would kill us all, and she hisses, "Yes." The alien version of Chastain's Vuk was supposed to have a full face reveal after she gets up on the roof after Scott blasted her while they were being carried away. Then we see her face heal over itself and her stare at the stars, taking in her newfound heightened senses. Then she was to look down at the mutants being loaded up into armoured vans. Another dot point, Chastain was supposed to do a superhero landing on the team during the train scene, with the speed pushing her skin. She grew out of place and healing it back. That would have been cool.
She's wearing an Edgar suit.
I don't think anyone can do the superhero landing anymore now that Deadpool's taking the piss now.
Yeah.
You can't do it anymore. It's done. Phoenix forming around Jean as it intertwined with the train as its cars floated into the sky. Was entirely previs, so probably cut for budget and impact of the Space Phoenix. All of Jean's fight choreography was cut. She was to have a massive fight with onslaughts of aliens that were coming out of rubble, ending with her disintegrating them all after being stabbed with the pole. So this sounds a lot more violent than what we got.
Yeah.
Fox execs expected this huge invasion-style attack on New York, with the X-Men battling alongside. Whoa! What they got was just Jean and Scott saving civilians and UN leaders. Charles is also there, but his powers don't work on aliens. Okay, so this is like the ending to part one that we were supposed to get at the UN. So there's a liability more than anything. The UN attack was scripted differently when this was going to be a two-parter saga. And okay, there's also some huge name Oscar-winning people behind the scenes creating this movie. Don't worry about that. The two movies were supposed to be filmed together. kind of like Infinity War and Endgame. The plan was to film most of the huge action set pieces first. So the UN set, the largest for any X film, as well as the New York Night Street battle set, were all being built. These two sets were the third act sets for each movie, with the UN set serving as the huge invasion-style finale for Part 2. Part 1's finale set is still partially in this movie, a bit scaled down, with key players missing. It also serves as the close of second act as opposed to a final act battle. Wow. So the mansion fight, that's sort of where Magneto and Charles, they go in and fight each other. That was supposed to be the finale to Part 1. Eh?
Right.
Fuck. That would have been bigger then. That's why Magneto's entrance when the thing comes in behind him was so cool. That's supposed to be the end of the move, which makes sense. Fox, with about 2 months until principal photography, blindsided the entire team, cut the budget and informed the creative team to scale it down to one movie. They were not told any reason. No employee at Fox knew about the merger until it was announced, only higher-ups. They scrambled. They had to rewrite the entire script, pulling together pieces and ideas from old ones, while completely cutting out characters, set pieces, sequences, and changing some character motivations. The biggest omission from this is the Shi'ar. Yes, the Shi'ar were to be introduced and fleshed out in the scrapped two-part movie. Simon knew bringing them in this new script would have been foolish, drawing away the spotlight from Dream, having to do their origin story as well as certain character relationships with Charles, while also telling Jean's descent into darkness in a 2-hour time frame was unrealistic. Things had to be cut. So, if people are still listening now, goodness me, so much anarchy, so much chaos going on in Fox and the X-Men Dark Phoenix movie. Brooksy, all that being said, would you have liked to have seen that 2-part movie materialise, or are you happy just writing off this current Dark Phoenix?
I want to see a 3-part.
You want to see a 3-part? I want to see Starjammers involved, and Shi'ar and Decan and the Mcron Crystal.
Phoenix Saga, 2 Dark Phoenix Saga movies.
I don't know. I mean, I think if this is true, and it sounds true, it is such a blindside. So unfortunate to Fox and Kinberg and the cast and crew, who are sort of committed to making this badass 2-parter that could have been. I think it might have been better than Apocalypse, because I think Apocalypse should have been a 2-parter because he gets wiped out way too quickly. Yeah,
but that's what I said. They wrote themselves into a hole then.
This all goes back to Matthew Vaughn saying he had a trilogy in mind. He wanted to do First Class, 70s one in the middle, and finish with Days of Future Past, and you've got a perfect trilogy there. Yeah. Then you could pick it up again and do the Dark Phoenix trilogy, and then you could pick it up again and do an Apocalypse trilogy. That being said, I suppose people would want a fresh villain in every film. Maybe they wouldn't like 3 movies all about Apocalypse or 3 movies all about Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix is fine because there's so many other elements to that.
That's what I think too.
But yeah, Apocalypse, maybe just the 2. Same as Sinister, you probably have to do 2 as well.
You reckon for Sinister just 2? You might get away with 1 with a Sinister movie.
Depends how much of that you want to bring in too.
Yeah, but it's a really unfortunate situation. Maybe if the Fox and Disney merger was delayed by 3 years, we would have got this Dark Phoenix saga in a 2-parter, and we would have had more cool badass music from Hans Zimmer. I listened to the soundtrack again. Boy, that is epic. Yeah. It's just a sort of, I want to say tragic set of circumstances. It's just an unfortunate set. I thought that a 2-parter here really could have given them a proper send-off for this crew rather than this rushed Dark Phoenix send-off. And there's the whole politicking behind the scenes studios. Kevin Feige, first female Marvel-led superhero Captain Marvel. I mean, because I'm an X-Men guy, not a MCU guy. I mean, I grew up watching X-Men. If Cyclops are fighting Iron Man, you better believe I'm on Team Cyclops, you know? I would prefer to have seen this Dark Phoenix over Captain Marvel because I think as I don't say bad, as mediocre as Dark Phoenix is, I still think it's more. There's parts in there that are more interesting than Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel may be a better rounded film, even structure, 3-part or whatever. It's just, to me, it's just as flat as any of the other lesser MCU films. And Dark Phoenix, while it's got highs and it's got lows, so it seems more interesting to me. Just a really unfortunate situation here. And yes, I do blame Kevin Feige for this very dark review of Dark Phoenix making of, but there's movies. And we can always think of what if. Do you think there'll be a theatrical cut and an extended cut on Blu-ray DVD?
No.
Me neither. Let us move on. Okay, you got your notes ready? Because this is the lighter side of Marvel movie news. Spider-Man Far Home, first reactions are in. Black Widow is dead. Let's talk about that, Brooksy. What notes do you have for us?
Not many notes. Just reading online. I don't really like to get into spoilers and that sort of stuff.
Oh,
but
right.
You
can do like a spoiler.
I feel
review.
They're not really spoilers because every time I talk about this, it never ends up happening in the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the whispers at the moment about Far From Home are that there could be another character, Chameleon, in there, and he's pretending to be people, notably Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's at the end of the movie, it's going to set up Sinister Six.
Oh, so really doubling down on the shapeshifters in the MCU. We got the Skrull, and now our boy Chameleon. Did you watch a lot of Spider-Man animated series?
I did.
So you know Chameleon, he's a shapeshifter. He takes the form of other people. He's a real manipulator, good spy, espionage type thing.
Yeah, he's Russian too, isn't he? Russian?
I think he's got some sort of Russian name.
Eastern European sort of guy. Yeah, anyway, so that, and then you know how they were moving out of Avengers Tower in Homecoming. Apparently Norman Osborn is going to buy that, and then it's going to start all that Norman Osborn stuff, Oscorp and everything. It's all going to come from there.
And they're going to have the Sinister Six in. Finally, they've been trying this Sinister Six for a while. They tried to make it happen with
Amazing
Spider-Man, where you see all his gear, all the bad guys' gear in. I think it is Norman Osborn or Oscorp Tower. There's the Dr. Octopus tentacles, the Scorpion suit, the Electro was already in the movie, and Green Goblin, and blah 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 blah. But in this one so far, we've got Vulture's still alive, Mysterio's there. And if Norman Osborn shows up, we'll have Green Goblin. Chameleon's supposed to be in there. So there's a few others that still need to pop up. And maybe...
Is the Sinister Six set as a six, or going to be...
It's always had a few people in the lineup.
Yeah,
I believe the original one is Doc Ock, Hobgoblin, Electro, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, and I think... Sandman.
Right, yeah.
So, but they always sort of interchange.
There's Chameleon, Rhino, Scorpion, sorry.
Scorpio!
Who else is there? Shocker.
The Shocker is alive. Green Goblin, that could be one.
Green Goblin. Yeah.
The Lizard.
Yeah, there's a lot of villains.
There's a fair few of them. Vulture. Oh, we said Vulture. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for the Sinister Six, and that'd be cool because this will be the first time we would have seen a team of bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Because we've only ever had the Avengers, the good guy team, against one bad guy or themselves, and this is what I said going back to like. Expendables or other group movies, they need to see the flip side of the coin. They need to see their opposite. Barney Ross going up against Jean-Claude Van Damme, but we also need to see Jason Statham go against his equivalent, or Jet Li go against his equivalent, you know what I mean? So many of these films, they've had the heroes not having their mirror image, so it'd be really neat. But in this, it's just Sinister Six versus Spider-Man, so it's a team of bad guys against him. So we'll see how that turns out. Is that all we have from Far From Home? Besides that, everyone's digging it, yeah?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Positive reviews.
It's all positive. It's MCU, man.
It is. They can't miss, even when Jake Gyllenhaal doesn't wear the bubble. Those bloody helmets that just...
He's going to touch the side of his head. It's going to disappear.
Buzz Lightyear style. I'm not a fan. But anyway, Black Widow is dead. Kevin Feige returns. My worst fears have been realised. It's a prequel, Brooksy.
So neither Disney nor Marvel Studios have confirmed the movie yet, officially. They have said they potentially going back in time for a Black Widow prequel could possibly help the story of the MCU move forward.
Oh, yeah. Let's go back to go forward. Let's go left to go right. What's with this hook turn storytelling, man? Just go forward and keep us in the future, man. So yeah, this is not what I wanted. But of course you can't cheat out her heroic sacrifice in Endgame and void it. But they did that with so many other things, like with Nick Fury's eye, all that badass with his eye, that got voided by saying the cat did it. Why not just bring her back so we can have a nice, I don't know, not about nice, but no more prequels, man. Don't tell me stuff that's happening in conjunction with Endgame or before Endgame. Let's actually move forward, not move backwards and say that we're moving forward.
So yeah, it's all speculation, but they're saying San Diego Comic-Con this month.
That's when the big announcement will be made. Do you feel passionately about prequels or current storylines?
I don't feel passionate about bloody
Black Widow.
Black Widow.
No?
I couldn't care less.
The hottest Avenger.
Move on.
Fly her ass as well. Let's get some more Captain Marvels.
No, I don't want more Captain Marvels.
Well, after Endgame, what would you like to see of the MCU? We've already got Spider-Man coming out. Got other stuff confirmed.
Got Guardians 3 coming. Interested for that.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more of the old sorcerer there.
Doctor
Strange, yeah.
If Keanu jumps in, I'm going to be excited.
That'll be interesting.
That'll make me interested in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, you got that Adam Warlock storyline that they sort of started. That'll be good to see.
I'd have to watch Doctor Strange again to remember the Adam Warlock or whatever, but yeah.
And then they're probably going to do a Black Panther 2 because Black Panther made $1 billion.
A phenomenon in the United States.
But I'm not really interested in that.
I
can't really see that going too far.
Nah. I saw a really funny VFX video about how bad the CGI was during the train fight.
Yeah.
And they just broke down all the things about how rushed they were and how the VFX guys, you got two characters that are dressed in black with a black background. You're running into a wall right there. How are you supposed to create separation with that? Yeah. And they're saying how everything was sped up and motion blurs and CGI were wrong and it was all a bit of a mess. And I'd agree with that.
But yeah, I guess we're going to get a Falcon movie. Now that he's the new...
Will it be called Captain America?
Captain America Falcon?
Yeah, I don't know where to go with the MCU now. There's nothing more I want from it. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see if the Russo brothers will come back. So they did Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah.
They're set for life. They could make any movie they want now.
Yeah.
Would they choose to stay with the MCU? Would they choose to do another Avengers, or is that it for them now?
I feel as though they've got a good track record.
I feel as though Marvel sort of sucks the energy life out of directors and lets them move on to something else with a decent rep of them, so they just contribute. I mean, Joss Whedon did, well, that killed Joss Whedon's career, the Avengers movies, but Jon Favreau did Iron Man 1 and 2, then went on to have great success with Jungle Book and Lion King, and Russo brothers. I'm sure they'll break away and do something awesome.
Yeah, then they'll come back, I reckon.
You reckon they'll come back? Yeah. We'll see. That's what I'm most interested in, see where the directors go from here.
Shut up and take my money!
Alright, it's time for Mutant Merch, and I've got another Marvel legend, Brooksy. We talked about him last week. Talked about my plan. I got another multiple man to add to the collection.
We got two of them now, baby.
He just sort of popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and I thought, oh, that's a decent enough price. I'll grab him. So we got two multiple men here at Brooksy's house, one multiple man at my house. We'll set them up
What's the number we're looking for out of multiple men?
I don't know. I mean,
A baker's dozen?
I don't know if I could do a baker's dozen. What's that, 13?
That's it.
I don't know if I could do that. That's a bit too expensive. But depending on how cheap they start popping up at, don't lose those heads. Put them in the other bag if you like.
Will do.
Get multiple man set up. But I don't know, maybe 3 over here, 1 at my place, depending on how cheap I can find them. But this multiple man and this episode, Cold Comfort, it's really got me into the character. I like him. So let's get more multiple men. All right, let's take it home. Find our podcast on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Pocket Casters, Stitcher, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate us, and give us a review. Like and share our page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Gen X-Men Pod for Meme Monday, Marvel movie news, and our brand new Figure Friday, Brooksy. Getting that content out there. Brooksy's going to be taking pictures of action figures, some of his pop finals, sharing them with all you lovely folks.
Every Friday.
Or you can body slide into our Facebook DMs or contact us by email, generationxmenpodcast@gmail.com. Send us in questions for Q&A, fan questions, anything Marvel or X-Men related you'd like to hear us bang on about for a minute or two. So what's up for us next time, Brooks?
Next episode, number 37, are we up to? Savage Land, Strange Heart, Part 1.
I believe it's 38. 37 might have been today. Cold Comfort was the last of the lost episodes, is that right?
Yeah, so we got Savage Land straight into the Dark Phoenix saga.
Here we go. Finally, we're going to address it. All right, that's it from us here at Generation X-Men. Wherever you are in the world, thanks for listening, and we hope you had a decent shot of X-Men nostalgia. Next time, we've got Savage Land Strange Heart Part 1 with Breakdown, Tally Time, Claw Draw, Mutant Merch, and maybe Marvel movie news. Like the Terminator, we'll be back, and we look forward to your company then. Thanks for hosting, Brooksy.
No worries, Bender. Take it easy, mate.
Hasta la vista.
See ya.